Hello, my name is Brother Don Nugent. I have known Mr. Joe Martinez for almost 50 years. My goodness.
Brother Donald Nugent has been my friend and mentor since I was a sophomore in high school. And during my freshman and sophomore year, he was a campus minister at the college which I attended. After one of my last videos, a friend suggested that I say the story about the first time that I started a fire for a barbecue, and it involves Brother Donald. It was during the summer of my sophomore year. A group of us were staying out at the beach with Brother Don, and it was a time of reflection and kind of a mini retreat. And at the time I had a lot of things in my mind, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So one evening, somebody suggested that we go for a walk on the beach. And everybody agreed, so everybody got up to go for a walk on the beach. But I had a lot of things to think about, so I decided to stay behind by myself and try to sort some things out in my mind. As I sat there thinking, I remembered that evening we were going to be having a barbecue. And there was a bag of charcoal there, and there was the lighter fluid there, and there was a barbecue pit. Not a very big one, but a barbecue pit where we were going to barbecue. So I decided that I was going to start the fire for the barbecue. I had never done it before, but I figured that it couldn't be that hard. So I took the bag of charcoal and I emptied it all into the barbecue pit. And it did look kind of like a high pile, but I had never done it before, so I didn't know. So then I took the lighter fluid and I started to squirt it into the charcoal. And I wasn't sure how much to put, but I figured a bag of charcoal, a bottle of lighter fluid. So I squirted the whole bottle of lighter fluid into the charcoal. So I took a match and I lit it and I threw it into the charcoal. And as soon as the fire ignited, I realized that I had made a mistake because it was a huge fire. It was so big, so hot, and so smoky. I was very embarrassed by it, but I didn't know what to do. It was too hot for me to even get close to it to try to do anything. I thought about dumping it over and starting from scratch, but I couldn't because I had used up all the lighter fluid. So I decided just to sit there and wait for it to die down. It was taking a long time. So it wasn't long after that I realized that the group was coming back, and Brother Don was in front of the group. And as they got close to the campsite, Brother Donald saw that I had started the fire and started cheering. Hey, Joe started the fire. And it was kind of a funny thing because he was clapping his hands over his head and he was walking on the sand, and obviously he had sensitive feet because he was kind of limping because he was stepping on the shells. But he kept yelling, Joe started the fire, Joe started the fire. And so I didn't know what to do. I was very embarrassed by the whole thing. But nobody complained, nobody criticized, nobody made fun of how hot the fire was. And even though we had to wait for a long time before we could finally put the meat on it, I think that people appreciated that I started the fire. And ever since then, I became known as the guy who started the fire. The big fire. And again, for a long time after that, I joked that you could probably see it from space because it was so high. So I learned an important lesson that night. And the lesson was that not to be afraid to try new things if it's a constructive thing. And even though you're not sure how to do it, to give it a shot. And somebody might appreciate what you did, even though you didn't do a great job at it. And that's a lesson that I have thought about many times over and over during my lifetime. My goodness.